Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Wargame Red Dragon replay cast. Today it's another 4chan 3 vs 3 tournament game. We are now in round 3, which is the final 4 teams. This particular game consists of a team ANZ as the blue team on the left side, which we have Mike, Faust, and George S. Patton. And on the right side, we have our red team. It consists of Team Wardong, which consists of Frosty, Enraged Ewok, and Nandamoni. And the map is Wonsan Harbor. So a pretty good map. I actually really enjoy this map. There's just a lot of infantry play on this map, and just pushing infantry up through these towns. And then when you get low on infantry, you can just keep a Hemmet or some kind of supply vehicle in the back, and then push all your troops back and reinforce them, and then just keep them back in the battle. But we'll see how it goes. Lots of bombing, lots of infantry, so it should be a fun match. And we'll speed this on up. But just as a reminder, I will put one player from each side, so 2 total players as decks in this in the description of the video. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put George S. Patton's deck from this particular game in the description of the video, and I might actually just replicate those in all of the videos, because this is going to be a best of 3 series between these two, and they might all be the same deck. So if you look at game 2 and so on, it's going to be the same decks. I'm just going to put the one deck from each side, and I'm going to put I'll put Frosty's deck in here as well. So it'll be Frosty and George S. Patton for this series of games, and it will be from this game number 1. But the battle on the way, an F5 going across the water there, and it's a very short distance and was taken out very quickly there by those MiG-23s. So we'll see where everybody's going here. Looks like George S. Patton going off to the right, and ANZ, or Faust rather, and Mike going towards the left and the mid. So we'll see which one decides to take the mid and which one decides to take more of the left side there. I can't really tell just yet, as they're all sort of blobbed together right now. Frosty taking the left side of the map, and Nandamoni and Ewok going towards the middle and the right side. And we have some daps in the air first and foremost, but none of them firing. Nothing to really hit just now. I have an MI-4 all the way over there, but way out of range for those stingers just yet. And so the battle will begin shortly. There was a few skirmish fights there, and that F5 was taken out. We have some LVTPs here, going to be dropping off some Marines, and a CEV there as well to handle any kind of troops that may poke their eye out along through here. The CEV ready to fire, but fires so slowly. There it goes, and blasts those armored personnel carriers, and does huge damage. About to fire again. Smalls and U.S. Marines in there, and we have some flame panzers firing up this whole area here. The entire area now on fire. The equivalent of a napalm drop there, and looks like A1Gs here dropping off troops, and Jaegers just pouring out of them. And so many of them splitting up here, and it looks like Faust taking the middle there, and Mike is going off to the left. So 30 Gewehrmen on the edges, and M8 Panzerbills trying to push forward as well. And the clash definitely has begun in the middle there. Is this pretty much, you can see a totally even side. Neither side really pushing up just yet. We have some sapperies in there, gonna start lighting this whole place on fire, but these flame panzers are doing huge work. MIP's coming around the side though, and really need to focus on those flame panzers, because they are just setting the whole world on fire, if you will. And flame panzer, one of them about to die, and in this case it is not the man who sold the world, but rather the man who set the world on fire with flame panzers. And left side not seeing too much action there. Could possibly push into the woods and push around and get a good flank going, but going to take a little while to do that. Take some finesse as well, and these Jaegers not doing so good. There's so much fire here. They are losing very, very quickly. Now we have some SU-122s in the town as well, and SU-122s very, very cheap. Only 15. They're in the vehicle tab of the Russians, and they do 5 HE power to troops. So that is very, very good, and they only cost 15, so they are very, very easy to mass, and if you lose them, it's sort of an situation. Didn't really cost you too much. U.S. Marines trying to push on the right here, but looks like Team Wardong has a pretty good setup all through here, and including those flame panzers are still alive. I can't believe they are still going, and they still have fuel, ammunition, if you will. I guess it's just sort of ammunition fuel. And 21 U.S. Marines here in a decent spot, but getting blasted by T-72s. And so they had to push back just a little bit there. And MIP did not get to those flame panzers, and I'm very surprised by that. I figured he would actually push those at the flame panzers, because they are just doing so much work. I can't believe these are still alive. And Wardong has a commanding position in the center, pushed back all of those Jaegers with some superior troops. I see some Sapperies in there, and they're a bit more of a mixed troop and military here for Team Wardong in the center, with those T-80s, those Sapperies, also those Su-122s that were in there. I believe those are long gone by now, indeed, but they did take some lives. And no, the Su-122s are gone. Actually, I had to zoom in so far to actually see anything. TO-55 and Wardong doing really, really good and really clever with the use of flamethrowers. It does not look like ANZ has any at all, except for these. I see some assault engineers here, and I really don't see anything else that is using flame. And that is definitely really useful on this map. As you can see, it is just pure infantry, and tanks do somewhat little on this map because there's not that many areas for them to attack, except for when you're on the edge like this and you have some tanks over here, or if something's moving across. That's about the only opportunity you really get. This Leopard here is firing away, but there are just so many troops on the map that it's really just inadequate, and it's just firing away and taking out various troops one at a time. And we're actually going to speed this up a little bit to the 2x mark. It is a 39-minute game, so it is a pretty hardy length game. I think the other games in this series are a little shorter than that. M1A1HA moving across now and trying to get at these T-72s and take some shots. Down to one sliver of health. CEVs are firing away at those T-72s, but pretty much fruitlessly. A couple IPs moving up, one of them only 1 bar of health, this one only 2 bars of health, and so need to get both of those vehicles back. It looks like the one MIP was lost. I don't see it now. No, it is just sort of hidden there in the mix of those pivots. And now Wardong pushed even further now. Jaegers down 20 men, but there are Spetsnaz here with those napalms, so just really, really excellent use from Wardong of just using fire in general. The age-old weapon that is known as fire. As primitive as it is, it really, really gets the job done, particularly in these cities on this map. This Flame Panzer is still alive. Both of these Flame Panzers are still alive, and it looks like they were actually resupplied at some point. Either that or they are new ones. I'm not really sure, but those are the same. I believe those are the same 2 Panzers. And the right side looks like it is crumbling for ANZ as well. And now bringing up a ton of infantry now. Some SMAs there were dropped off, and some U.S. Marines as well. However, Wardong has a really commanding presence now in the center, pushed up even further now. Jaegers in the middle of it all. These will not last very long. Buratino there in the mix, and a Ural resupplying all of this noise in the town there. And that's exactly what you want to do on this match. Is just really push up troops, obviously, in the center here. And then once you see that they're low, for example, these Granada men only did 2 men, you really should take these men and then pull them back to, say, here in this block or this block. And then so your Urals will actually reinforce all of those Granada men in that squad, and then you can just simply push them back whenever they're resupplied, and that way you don't lose all of the infantry in your deck, and that way you just continuously accumulate infantry as you're bringing in more and more. You're not really losing them, so you're just accumulating more and more and more, and eventually you own the whole town. M1A1 now pushing up here at T-72s, and a T-80 is there. And we have an M on IP. And looks like that A1 is backed up a little bit. And the A1 destroyed. Was lost there to that AP barrage. Smalls not lasting much longer here, and they may finish off that T80 there. Smalls very, very good, of course, against tanks, and fairly good against infantry as well. You can use the SMAW against infantry. Does I believe two HE, I think. So it does a job to some degree. 1 or 2 HE. Was that BM27, I do believe, that finished off, indeed, yeah, that finished off that M1A1. Gewehrman now pushing up, and now Wardong, every minute or two, they just push forward even more. The left side of the map has pretty much been untouched by Wardong. They just said pretty much screw it, and they're just pushing forward. 0-0 right now, and right now, ANZ has 213 points, so Wardong is actually losing, but they have way more territory and are just pushing ANZ back every minute. So right now they have 213, but right now Wardong has the +1 advantage, so sooner or later they will catch up. It's going to take a little while to do so. Bombing run hits there, Gewehrman all the way over here, and they're in no man's land. I think they were trying to maybe get to that CV, but wasn't quite happening there. Gewehrman 20 and 30 Marines here in the Wash Regiment, and the U.S. Marines going out of here. Both of them CQC machine guns, and looks like the U.S. Marines losing out on this. The LVTP is going to be firing away here at the Flame Panzer, but doesn't really last very long. Foxtrot is neutralized here, that +1 advantage for Wardong. And we'll see where they decide to push after this. Getting across these two bridges here is going to be very, very difficult, so usually you just end up stopping right here at the edge of Foxtrot. Getting over them is going to be so difficult with these troops in the towns right at the edges. So usually getting over this river is pretty much futile and ends up costing you way more. And Canonian Jagdpanzer firing away here. Very, very interesting. 8 AP power and 3 HE power for 20 cost tanks. So they're not too bad. They have decent range, 1925, and do pretty well against troops. CEV also. CEV very, very nice against troops, but its fire rate is abysmally slow and has 2450 range, which is superior than pretty much any tank, as it is really kind of a mobile mortar. Sapper is now moving over, and it looks like Wardong is just now beginning to start attacking Echo, and there is an attack has been called, or actually a defense really has been called. Faust calls an attack, but I would consider that more of a defense call than an attack call. I suppose either way, a good defense is a good offense. And now 3 CEVs all firing away, but the Gornastrelki here took out one of them, and another one will fall shortly here. T-72Ms, I think, are in range of those. That BM-27 fires, and AP round smacking all over these CEVs there. Takes out the majority of them. There's only one left there. And Jaeger's not going to last too long here in the middle of Sappery and Spetsnaz. And there you go. Sappery's still going strong here for Nenamone. And with the help of Spetsnaz, Sappery and Spetsnaz combined is pretty much as brutal as you can get, really, for town warfare. So I think the deck setup for Wardong is just way, way better on this map. I just don't think ANZ really prepared for this type of map. I think ANZ is a really, really excellent team, but this map, I just don't think they thought about it very well with their decks. Perhaps they didn't have time to make a deck specifically for this. Not really sure. M1HC, heavy commons now pushing forward here. And firing away, and got to get out of there, and taking big hits from Gornastrelki all over the place. Anytime any kind of armor gets up there, there's just Gornastrelki, T-72s, T-80s to fire away. Foxtrot has been retaken by ANZ with that Leopard CV vehicle. However, at the same time, Echo was neutralized, so still +2 advantage. And now the Leopard is moving here, so it's a plus back to 1. So this Leopard keeps moving back and forth, I believe, from the fire. And it gives a +2 and a +1 randomly. Nope, now we have a CV over here, so that neutralized that. I did not notice that for a moment there. There was just so much going on. And so still +2 advantage for Team Wardong, 213 to 110. Currently ANZ is winning the blue team, but with that +2 advantage, they will not last all that much longer. Another CV is on the way. It looks like this T-72 is moving towards Echo here. Will have a +3 advantage should they capture Echo successfully, and it looks like that will be the case. I don't really see anything that's going to stop that just yet. And we have an Mi-24P hanging out all the way over here. An attack has been called for it, but I don't think it's much of a danger. There's a couple, 4 Sakeless missiles on it, but other than that, it's really not that big of a deal. Anemone from Team Wardong has called on that Leopard, spotted that CV there. So we'll see what happens. He could actually use that BM-27. The BM-27 is currently reloading, and I think that 2519 is firing away on it, or no, where is it firing? Looks like it's hitting all the way over here, hitting the bridge. But as soon as this BM-27 is full now, it could actually fire and take out that Leopard there. Now Team ANZ having a hard time, just can't really make it past the bridges, and vice versa, really. Wardong cannot make it past these bridges, and ANZ now cannot make it past the bridges. Now 3 CEVs, and now that's something I like to see, all those CEVs, those are fun. Heimet Schutzen trying to make their way into the town line, but not doing a particularly good job. Instantly got mashed by the SU-122s here. And the 5 HE power of SU-122s cannot be really looked down on or ignored. It is pretty potent, actually. As you can see, the CEV does 8 HE power. It has superior range, but a very, very inferior attack speed. Now an M1A2, the big boss, if you will. However, that BM-27 now firing away on all of those CEVs, and takes out one of them, and I think that will be all it will get. It may get this Hemet as well. No, Hemet lucks out on that. Is probably all full of holes, but still works just fine. An M1A2 and M1, 2 M1A1s, and the A2 pushing across here. KPZ T-72s need to be taken out by those Abrams. And the heavy common taking the heat here, and one more hit from just about anything, and that HC is going down. Panzer Grenadiers have made it to the town line, surprisingly enough. Some smoke is stopping the firepower right now from Wardong, allowing ANZ to push up momentarily. And I think they could have used this smoke a little while ago. +3 advantage for Team Wardong right now, 0 to 3, and 213 to 359. Wardong went way ahead of ANZ. And well played so far for Team Wardong with the use of all those fire vehicles, the Flame Panzers, Sapperies, and all of the other various units that were used. Very, very clever. Took out so many units with those Flame Panzers, and those lasted for so long. I think this may be an original Flame Panzer from earlier. Not really sure, but either way, he still has one out on the map. And the Flame Panzer does fire 100mm, so it does all right. Only has 11 AP power, so it won't do all that much to this A2. It's probably inefficient and will not even fire on that A2. And Kaverman completely surrounded by Spetsnaz Sapperies. And trying to push up there, but not gonna really happen here. And another HC is pushing out some tons of armor over here for Patton, and so he's really massing up the armor and using all those CEVs as well. And Command Abrams here, very, very low on health, just about to go down. And U.S. Marines now trying to push in, so a last desperate push here for ANZ before the time is up. Now Wardong owns 90% of the points. to win the game. And Command Abrams going to be pushed into a Delta there. It stops, it neutralizes it, so leaving only a +2 advantage, but still we'll have to get Echo, and we'll have to do more than that. Now, captured Foxtrot, now only +1 advantage. M1A1 and the A2 pushing up. And lots of troops now pushing up. So ANZ just at the last moment making an incredible push here. And will they have time, though? I don't think they will, to make a difference in this game. If they would have made this push, 5-10 minutes ago, this would have been a different story. And they're doing really, really well now with those assault engineers. And Gewehrmen just pushing up with the Heimat Schützen as well. And the Abrams with the help of Patton pushing up all of his armor there, and Patton's bringing all of the noise here. He's bringing all the pivads, the chaparrals, the CEVs, and the armor, whereas Faust is bringing the majority of the troops that are pushing straight up through the center. So if that would have happened a while ago, it would have been a different story. But looks like Wardong wins game number 1 out of the best of 3 between ANZ and Team Wardong. But I will be casting the other games as well. And so it was a very, very excellent game on a map that I really enjoy casting and really enjoy playing on that map. You don't really actually get to play it that often. Nobody really seems to host it. I don't think other people really like that map, but I really love the infantry warfare aspect of Wargame Red Dragon. But stay tuned for the next games. Just check my channel, and they should be up either with game number 1, and if they are not, then it'll probably just be the next day or within some odd hours. But hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.